Hello everyone. Today, I'm going to show you how I built an automation that connects Google Forms to Google Sheets. This automation cleans data, checks for duplicates, and even rejects entries automatically, all using Make, formerly known as Integromat. This workflow acts like a personal assistant for your forms. It listens for new responses, cleans up messy entries, decides whether to keep or reject them, and neatly updates your sheet. Let's break it down module by module so you can build it too. The first module we have is the Google Forms Watch Responses. This is where the automation starts. It remains on standby and wakes up the moment someone submits your form. First, connect your Google account to Google Forms. Then, select the exact Google form you want to monitor. To find the form ID, go to your form and look at the URL. Copy the part after and before edit. This is your form ID. Set the limit to 1, which means it will only fetch one response at a time when this module runs. The second module is Google Sheets, specifically search rows. Before we add anything to the spreadsheet, we check if the email already exists. In our form, we ask for the first name, last name, email, budget, and a link to the website. It's possible for two similar emails to be entered, so we need to manage our flow accordingly. Think of this module as a gatekeeper that checks every form submission to see if we've seen that email before. First, connect Make to your Google Sheets account. Sign into your Google account and grant Make permission to access Google Sheets. For the search, we will use the spreadsheet ID. Again, select the part of the URL after and before edit. This is your Google Sheet ID. The sheet name is typically Sheet 1, which you can see at the bottom of your Google Sheets. Make sure to check Table contains headers? Yes, this means that the first row of your sheet contains headers like name, email, and budget. Set the column range to A2, CZ, meaning Make will look through all those columns in the sheet. For the filter, we will use the rule, column email must be equal to the email from the Google form submission. To get this value, right-click, Insert Items, and select the email field from the form submission. This will return a row if it finds a match. If the email in the spreadsheet matches the email from the form, the row will be returned, otherwise, it will not. Next, we use a text parser to grab the website link from the row. This is important because some people may enter additional text along with their website link. We only want the URL, so we use the text parser to extract it. We set the pattern to look for HTTP addresses, ensuring we only return URLs starting with HTTP or HTTPS. The text field is the one asking for the website link. Next, we have our router, which is our conditional logic. This module decides which path to take based on whether the email exists in our sheet. The filter condition checks the row number. If the search row step returns a match, it will provide the row number. If not, the row number will be empty. If the row number exists, it means we found the data we were looking for. If it doesn't exist, we can add a new row instead of updating an existing one. The first path filter is for when the email does not exist, indicating a new entry. In this case, we will use the Google Sheets Add a Row action. For the second path, if the email does exist, we will update the existing row with the new information provided by the user. Okay, let's start with Google Sheets and adding a row. First, you need to establish your connections between Google Forms and Google Sheets. After that, select the search method, as we will be searching for matching rows. Enter the spreadsheet ID as discussed previously. Specify the sheet name, which in this case is Sheet 1. Make sure to indicate that the table contains headers. Next, assign the values for the row. For the first name field, click on it, go to Search Items, and type in value. Select the corresponding value under the Text Answers section to map the form input to the spreadsheet column. Repeat this process for each of the other fields, including last name, email, and message. Now, about the message field. This represents the response provided by the user in the form. Sometimes, when users input their website details, they might add extra text such as, "Here is my website," or, "Yes, this is my website," but what we actually want is just the URL. This is why we use a text parser module. We keep both the original message and the parsed website URL in Google Sheets so we can compare them. The message column will contain the full original message entered in the form, while the website column will hold only the cleaned URL extracted by the text parser. This is why you drag the parser's output into the website field. Moving on, we have some conditional logic set up for the budget field, which affects whether an entry is marked as rejected. Specifically, we define a condition for the rejected status based on the budget amount. If the budget is equal to or greater than $10,000, then the rejected field should be set to false. If this condition is not met, the rejected field will be true. To visualize this, open your Google Sheets and add checkboxes under the columns Rejected and Contacted. If the rejected field contains false, the checkbox remains unchecked, indicating the entry is not rejected. If it contains true, the checkbox is checked, meaning the entry is rejected. In practical terms, this means that any budget of $10,000 or more will not be rejected, so the checkbox will be unticked. Budgets below $10,000, such as $5,000 or any amount between $5,000 and $10,000, will trigger the checkbox to be ticked, marking the entry as rejected. This conditional logic helps you filter the projects you want to accept or reject based on the budget. The contacted checkbox is initially set to false by default. Once all this is configured, save your settings. Next, for the scenario where a row already exists with the provided email address and you want to update that existing row instead of adding a new one, use the Google Sheets Update Row module. Make sure you connect it properly and set it up similarly as before. The crucial part here is to specify the row number that was returned from the search results. This corresponds to the row where the email matches the email from the form submission. By specifying this row number, you ensure the existing row is updated with new data instead of creating a duplicate row. The rest of the setup for updating the row remains the same, just insert the updated values in the appropriate columns. Save this workflow as well. Now, it's time to test the entire workflow. Copy the link of your Google form and use some test data to submit a form response. For example, set the budget between $5,000 and $10,000, and for the website field, enter some text like, "Here is the link to my website." Since we do not have a website for Logical8 currently, we will just proceed with that as test data. Submit the form. Then run the workflow. The system will choose the first route because the row does not already exist. You should see the data appear, including the email, message with extra text, and the parsed website URL containing only the HTTP address in the Google Sheets. Because the budget is $5,000 to $10,000, the entry will be marked as rejected according to your logic. Try submitting another form with the same email, but this time enter a budget of $10,000 or more, along with variations in other fields so you can test if the update route is triggered correctly. When you run the workflow again, it will skip adding a new row and instead update the existing row based on the matching email. The rejection checkbox will now be unticked because the budget meets the acceptance threshold of $10,000 or more. To extend the functionality, you can add a module that sends a notification message to your team in Slack whenever a new form submission is received. This allows you to automatically inform your marketing team or any relevant group about new entries. First, connect the Slack module to your Slack account. Then, select the channel where you want the messages to be sent, for example, a marketing channel you created in Slack. You can configure the message text that will be sent to Slack. It could be something simple like new lead submission received or new data entry received from Google Forms to Google Sheets automation, followed by the details extracted from the form like first name, last name, email, website, and budget. Drag the relevant values from your form data into the Slack message content so that each submission shows accurate information. Additionally, you can customize the message by adding fields like whether the entry was rejected or contacted, or provide a direct link to the Google Sheets for further details. Once set up, save this Slack integration. Test your workflow again by submitting another form response. Run the automation, and you should see a notification appear in your designated Slack channel with the submitted details and the status based on your conditional logic. To summarize, this workflow connects Google Forms to Google Sheets to automate data entry, uses conditional logic to mark entries as rejected or not based on budget, updates existing entries based on matching email addresses, and sends notifications via Slack to inform your team instantly. It's a straightforward and effective process to streamline collecting and managing lead data. Thank you for following this tutorial, and I hope you found it helpful. See you in the next workflow.